Good evening, internets. It's me, DB Knudten, with another edition of BOOKWARD BOUND, my 301-day journey from I should really do this to done. And that done is the creation of a brand new book by January 1st, 2021, that I will be uploading press-ready PDF files for a direct publishing platform, where I will be self-publishing a brand new book. And you've already seen the cover art, if you were just paying attention, and that cover art looks something like this. It's the book is called NONFICTION BRAND, Discover, Craft, and Communicate the Completely True, Completely You brand you already are. And it's all about what I call nonfiction branding in relationship to personal brands and small business brands. And a little bit of a spoiler alert, I consider the fact that all small business brands are actually personal brands because all of the people involved are completely dedicated and related to that business. So there's really no separation between the two entities. It's all one thing. Your small business is your personal brand and vice versa. Anyway, I'm writing a new book about that, and I'm doing it a little bit at a time, 301 consecutive days. And in fact, today is the 29th, Saturday, the 29th of August, 2020, which means that this is day 175 with 125 days left to go. My Lord, that's crazy. Hold on a second. I'm not sure this is actually going out. Yeah, it looks like, well, anyway, I'm talking. I think I'm back on the live stream. Anyway, sorry about that, but it looks like Restream.io maybe was having some problems or my stream got interrupted. But I am back. And the thing is, I am back doing what? Well, in this case, I think I'm going to work in Scrivener, the application I'm using to actually write the book. And I'm going to finish this section right here, which is about Neal Schaffer, that dude right there. He's a friend of mine, and he's got a lot of stuff going on. But he realized that all that stuff going on, those brands were obscuring his personal brand. And so he's flipping the script and going nealschaffer.com as the, I guess, master brand, with sub-brands coming off of it that all relate to the master brand. Because as he said in the podcast interview I did with him, Neal Schaffer can do anything, any brand at any time. So why wouldn't he brand himself as the most flexible thing? So I'm at the end of this section trying to wrap it up. And last night I kind of hit a wall and was struggling a little bit on what I wanted to say. So I actually want to read back through this. And I'm going to read it aloud because this is one of the techniques I use to actually see if the flow is there. If I can read it and not stumble, that's great. If I stumble on something, that's an indication that something is not written or punctuated correctly so that the reader can just flow right through it. Instead, it's like stubbing their toe. Well, my goal is to get rid of the toe stubbers and the obstacles and make everything as smooth as silk. So I'm backing up all the way up here to this section. The only answer, King Lear needs to retake the throne before he goes insane. That's exactly what Neal decided to do and is doing. Sorry to go all bachelors in theater on you, but the best example of this I can think of goes all the way back to William Shakespeare's great tragedy, King Lear. Long play short, old tired king, 3 daughters, divides his kingdom amongst them with the proviso that he gets to stop by and hang with his bros anytime he wants. All hell breaks loose, he loses his kingdom, his wits, and the only daughter who actually loves him. Sad, but all too often, all too true. How's that relate to Neal? He was King Lear, reigning over several kingdoms, but never fully taking lordship over them as officially as he might. Well, he is now, and very clearly so. He's the king of the castle in a non-Seinfeldian way, and the quality engagement that occurs in any of his kingdom is clearly and wholly his. By owning his personal brand and repackaging it all under nealschaffer.com, he's overtly retaken his throne and commanding all he surveys. And anyone who's made it to the end of the fifth, as anyone who's made it to the fifth act of Lear will tell you, if you ever become the king, it's far better to remain the king than become a babbling vagrant overlooking the wreckage of his family, fortune, and sanity. And that's exactly what Neal is doing. Retaking the throne. I think what I'm going to do is this. In the final analysis of what comes first brand-wise, the right answer is your brand, if you intend to keep it. But many brands are built from day one to be sold. The important thing to understand is that your nonfiction personal brand can never be sold because it stays with you and reflects your true ethics, professionalism, and value every single day of your life. Yes, you can create sub-brands with their own logos and personality to be sold to others. They can even be based on your personal brand DNA, but they will never be you. Just look at any company that was built on an individual who earned their brand over their professional career. What happened to the brand after they sold it and eventually left that brand? In most cases, nothing good. I'm going to say depends. Is there an Apple without Steve Jobs or a Disney without Walt? Clearly, yes. They crafted a company informed by their taste and priorities, but not built solely upon them as a foundation. The Neal Schaffer personal brand exists outside of any Neal Schaffer created company sub-brands. And that's an important thing to always remember. Simply put, a personal brand is something you can never sell. A sub-brand, informed by your personal brand, can be. How about I just leave it like that? I think I'm going to leave it like that for the time being, because I need to go through this again and fine-tooth comb it, proof it, do a little bit of editing and stuff like that. But at just under 1,200 words, that's about 4 pages at 300 words a page-ish with his photo in there. That'll definitely take up some space. Cool. So I think this is in pretty good shape, and I need to leave that. So where are we now? I just have so many pages I need to work on. Yeah, and one of the things I'm finding out is that I've been doing a lot by coming down here later at night and working on the book, but a lot of the stuff I do is kind of the cleanup or the reconfiguration, because pure writing takes a level of focus that I think is hard to maintain for long periods of time, and they need to be focused, for me anyway, it needs to be focused on when I'm mentally freshest, and that, my friends, is in the morning. So I really should be doing these live streams at like 7:30 till 10:30 in the morning, maybe 11 o'clock in the morning, because I would get a ton more writing done. But the reality is that nobody would be watching them, and maybe that's okay because no one's watching them this late at night either. But I think what I need to do to really focus on this book is actually start writing more outside of these sessions, and maybe just at the end of the day going through what I wrote that day so that everyone can see how I'm progressing with the book and all that stuff. So, and that may be exactly what I do, because it's hard to be down here at, what is this, 8:45 p.m. Central Daylight Time on a Saturday and work on this book. I just don't want to be here. I want to be binge watching TV with a drink in my hand, talking with my family, spending time with my dogs. I certainly don't want to be doing this. So maybe that's what I got to do. I got to step it up outside of these evening live streams, and maybe I'll shift them earlier in the day, because then I can focus, get them done, and then enjoy the entire evening guilt-free. Maybe that's exactly what I'm going to do. That actually sounds pretty good to me, because if I'm going to get this book done, I still have plenty of days left. I still have 125 days left in my 301-day journey. Now my page count roughly is about 220 pages of a book that I hope will be in the 250-page range. I don't want to go above 275, because then that's too daunting for many readers. And the economics of self-publishing, it's kind of optimized at about somewhere between 220 to 250 pages in book size length for a 6-inch by 9-inch book, like my first one, Rotoma, the ROI of Social Media Top of Mind. This is actually 214 pages, which makes it a nice half-inch book, maybe. I'd like my next one to be just a little bit thicker, a little bit beefier, a little bit more plonk factor. I call it plonk factor when you can plonk it on a table and it makes a sound. So I think around 250 pages is where I want it to be. So I'm not that far off from that page count, but I still have a lot of stuff I want to write. So I think I'm probably going to overwrite this book and then edit a bunch of stuff out of it, because I want only the very best content possible. And to get that, I'm going to have to write and write and write and write, and then edit like the most vicious, parsimonious editor in the world, because otherwise I'm going to have a book that just goes on and on and on like an endless conversation with no punctuation. I don't want that to happen. Anyway, I'm DP Knudten for the Nonfiction Brand podcast. I just spent earlier today working on editing a brand new podcast episode that will air on Monday with Stephanie Liu. This is episode 106, and it's the second half of a conversation with Stephanie. The first half occurred in the episode that launched this past Monday, episode 105. This new episode 106 is the second half with Stephanie. So both of them are really great conversations with someone who really knows her stuff about live streaming and doing live stream video, just like what I'm doing right now. I'll be honest with you, one of the reasons I'm doing this live stream is because of people like Stephanie, who convinced me that it's a tremendous way to demonstrate who you are, what you do, and how you do it, and how you're different. Because I can write a blog post and it can look like anybody else's blog post. But one thing about me on camera, there's only one me that sounds like me, that looks like me, that blathers on like me. So if I want to give someone the full picture of who I am, what I do, how I do it, and how I'm different, there's no better way than live stream video. Thank you, Stephanie Liu, for convincing me of that. Check out the Nonfiction Brand episode wherever you get podcasts for free. And that's it for tonight. I'll see you tomorrow. But until then, theme music, take us on out. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.